the Swiss National Bank, the SNB, yesterday came out and said that they may go negative on interest rates, and they don't take it lightly. Now, the Swiss have about, their interest rates are 0.5%. Their inflation rate is 0.6, okay? So everyone's expecting them in the next meeting to go to 25 basis points. Everyone's wondering if they're going to have negative inflation, i.e. deflation, and do they go negative on their interest rates? And the most important question is why would we care? Well, this is what happened before. Now, I posted a video and I pinned it up from November 22nd, 2024 on the SNB and negative interest rates. So let's quickly go through what happened. So back in 2013, when all the governments in the world started doing QE, quantitative easing, very easy, right? You print money and then you buy your own government bonds and you put them on your central bank's balance sheet. That's what we do. Our balance sheet today is worth like $6 or $7 trillion, okay? It was 9, now it's down to 7. So that's the difference, okay? But on the Fed's balance sheet, or government bonds or mortgages backed by the government, that's what's on there, CMBS, okay? Now the Swiss were afraid, as they printed for QE, if they gave the money to the banks, which we all do, same process, that the banks would then invest it into Swiss bonds, and the Swiss bonds would go negative, and they did not want that. So where they did QE, like every other bank in the world, this bank, one bank, said, we don't want negative interest rates, so we are going to invest our money around the world in other stock markets, okay? And so that means you take your Swiss franc, you go buy somebody else's currency, so it's not in Switzerland, and you buy their stocks, okay? And that was $1.1 trillion. Now, they're in a pickle, okay? That portfolio, 1.1, I think we tell you in November, I did a previous one to that, I'll pin that one also. I believe the yield on their portfolio was 2.3%, and as we all know, the stock markets were going up 25% a year, okay? So they weren't getting great performance. And so the question is, and they warned then that they may go to negative interest rates. So let's look at the scenarios that could cause negative interest rate. One, Switzerland is in Europe, but they're not in the euro. They're outside the euro. And if the euro, which has been under pressure, continues to go down, you could see the Europeans buying this Swiss franc. And by the way, if you go back and you look at the 80s and what happened with the Swiss bank and with the Europeans buying it, it is definitely an issue. This is no small thing. Trust me, that is no small thing. The second thing is that they could be starting QE again, okay? Because their economy has very little inflation, very little growth. They're kind of like, what do we do, okay? And then third, if you want to bring your money back, right? So let's say you're in U.S. stocks. So you sell the U.S. stocks, now you're in dollars, you then go exchange it into the Swiss franc, and then what do you buy with the Swiss franc? Swiss bonds, negative interest rates. So when you listen to the language that they're saying, we won't do this. We're very, we know that this is not very cool. But where they did it in November, this year, this time, 3 months later, guess what they give us? They give us a list of the largest stock holdings of the SNB. Now this is from Monday, I believe they had the meeting. And as you can see here, all the big positions, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, $8.6 billion. Well, maybe it's 5.8 billion now, okay? Then Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Alphabet, Broadcom, Eli Lilly, Berkshire Hathaway, Visa, United Healthcare. So, what are the Swiss talking about? Are the Swiss saying this now for what reason? We don't know. We don't know if they want to do QE again. We don't know if they're getting under pressure from the Europeans trying to buy their currency. So what they do is they drive the negative interest rates down, so it actually costs you money to buy the Swiss franc to stop people from buying the Swiss franc. This is what happened in the 80s, okay? They don't want to go through that again. Trust me, it was on the world news headline every single day, right, for weeks. So what are they doing? Are they getting ready to sell the stocks, the $1.1 trillion in stocks that they hold around the world? And you can see by the list here, US is number one, and where would you put your money if you're doing that? So if they sell those stocks and bring the money home again, and by the way, they've argued over in Switzerland, they say we bring the money home and think. They don't want to buy Swiss bonds. They don't want negative interest rates. They were considering dividing up the money and giving it to all the citizens. Every citizen gets their fair share, okay? Again, to stop the negative interest rates. You see what they're doing there? They didn't do that. I think that's not what kills them. What kills them is if they sell whatever currency they're in, they bring it back into the Swiss currency, their interest rates are going to go negative, and they could go down to negative 75, negative 1 point. So, what do you do? What would you do if you're the Swiss here? You're under pressure economically, and so your currency is totally tied with your economics. So now you have to make a decision. And if all the stock markets go down, for whatever reason, I'm not saying they are or not, but if they do and you're out there and you have all that money in those other places, what are you going to do then? I don't know, okay? So tell me what you think. Certainly what would you do? And tell me in the comments. Thank you very much.